Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
Welcome to Overwatch Central. So we've had a good play with the recent changes to D.Va and McCree, and we wanted to go over a video talking about the good and bad points of both heroes. And then we're going to take some of your comments that you gave us on Twitter, which is @OWCentral, and see what you guys think as well. But we're going to get straight into it. We're going to start off first with D.Va.
Right, so D.Va's had a few changes. If you don't know him, you can check out our video about the changes on screen now. But I assume most of you know him at this point since they're actually live in the the regular client now. So yeah, if you haven't checked them out, then definitely go and do that first. But anyway, let's get right into it, just making sure so you know that we're not gonna listen here. First off, D.Va now has a bit of a change of pace to her, right? And it feels pretty good overall. It feels a little bit more snappy and twitchy and fast. Like Ryan worded it earlier, actually, it's a really good sort of mix between sort of Roadhog and Winston. And it really feels like that, and it's much more rewarding to play D.Va now too, in my opinion. Next up, she blocks damage a lot easier, like blocking damage is easier and more effective. And that's just due to the very sort of intuitive change and almost like quality of life sort of improvement to the defense matrix. Sure, it's a buff, but it definitely makes it easier to use. Sometimes you used to just use defense matrix earlier and just pop it, and then you realize that, oh, actually that wasn't really that good, you didn't get a lot of value out of it. But now you can get a lot more value out of it, which is great for a tank like D.Va. The ultimate exploding earlier changes the pace of the game, like the whole match actually, and not only for the character, and that is really awesome. Overwatch now, we felt this in the PTR too, really feels like sort of Overwatch on steroids. It's all just so much faster, the tempo has changed, and it feels really fresh, and I like it a lot personally. And that hasn't that much to do with the actual character though. It's more of a sort of overall with the game and Anna and all that. Anyway, she's in a very good spot now, D.Va, in my opinion, and I feel like she will be played more, but has received like a near perfect adjustment rather than some buff that makes everyone want to play her. She just feels more natural and fun to play, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think the main thing is she feels more like a tank. A lot of these proposed changes that people said she should be a lot quicker when she's shooting, or she should do a little bit more damage. That's not really a tank's job. So having the ability to mitigate that damage freely instead of just having it on cooldown now and again is a major change. As Miska pointed out earlier, I said that D.Va is a good mix between Winston's movement and just Roadhog's tankiness. And the main issue was that Winston just did that job better, but now they are such different heroes that you can't really compare them as much anymore. We have seen less Winston in the games that we've played. We haven't really played much ranked recently, but in quick play, people seem to be playing a lot of D.Va. She is a fan favourite. The community love her in regards to fan art and stuff like that. But I'm not sure how it's going to be in competitive, in the pro scene, at least anyway. We're going to have to wait and see on that. I think Winston is still a really strong hero to have in stuff like Control and such. But we're going to have to see. There's plenty of tournaments going over the weekend, and you've got the ESL thing going on anyway, that we've got a lot to see. But now we have a good variation with the tanks, and now a lot of variation with the spots as well, with Anna and Zenyatta buffs and stuff like that. So, in regards to those two roles, we're in a really good spot. But now we're going to talk about a hero that has a very controversial aspect about him now, which is McCree.
Yeah, so McCree is a very interesting one, as the change is kind of similar to how McCree was in early closed beta. Like, that's what he's sort of been reverted back to almost. So if you don't know, in early closed beta at the end of October or start of throughout November really, McCree was good on almost all ranges, really. He could snipe Widow from afar, he didn't have much damage fall off, if any at all, I can't remember exactly, but basically he was a monster on all ranges, and it was kind of ridiculous at some points. At least when people had actually learned to play him properly, we started seeing him so much in every single pro game, and I mean, sure, we still see him a lot, but back then it was just ridiculous how easily he could dominate games. He now feels less stiff, and it feels like more skill is required to do very well with him now than in earlier versions of the character, when there was a lot of focus on Fan the Hammer and so on. You can kill any 200 HP character in 3 shots only, since you do 210 damage, 70 times 3 is 210. And even if you took that down to 65, which is like, oh, it's only a small decrease in damage, yeah, but it still wouldn't make that same 200 HP hero die in 3 shots, because, 65 times 3 is not over 200 or 200. So that is a bit of an issue, maybe. I mean, this is why the change is kind of seen as a bit controversial, as some people are a bit surprised to see that it's gone through, that he's so strong now, McCree, on long ranges, and it's only on extreme ranges, as they're calling it in the patch notes, that he really can't do that same amount of damage due to the fall-off. So yeah, that long-range damage capability is there now, and if that's the goal, that's perfect, they nailed that, but who knows if the character's too strong or not. Some seem to argue that he is too strong though, and maybe it needs some adjustment, but the character feels more fun to play in my opinion. And overall I feel like it's a step in the right direction. I don't really know if it's too far or not, because we haven't really seen it be played in the pro sort of scenarios just yet, but a step in the right direction, who knows if it's too much.
Yeah, as for me, he's a lot better than what he was before the Thunder Hammer was nerfed. That was just crazy, the ability to just absolutely eat away with people with his right click. So obviously, because of that, you kind of appreciate people killing you more, because it actually takes a lot of skill and accuracy to hit you as you're moving or travelling in the air as a Pharah, and so on and so forth, instead of just running up to you, flashbanging you and then right clicking and just mowing down you. It doesn't really take any skill, so it is a very skill orientated character. In regards to how he's going to be in the competitive scene, it's almost a certain that he's going to be in there now, with the damage and the accuracy that these players actually have. We know of plenty here, we know plenty of pro players that have the ability to just hit the backside of a bandor, I think the term is, or something like that, like Valetaja in Reunited and stuff like that. So it's just, it'd be silly to not use him at this point, because the damage at long range is so good. As I said, at least you can appreciate good McCrees now. It's not him just running up to you, right clicking, and it being like, oh well, that doesn't take any skill at all. He's just top of damage, just right clicking. But I do think he needs tuning down just a little bit. But now we're going to go over some of your comments. We wanted to ask what you guys were thinking on Twitter, and we also want you to give your opinions down in the comments below, and so do that. But Miska's going to go over the Twitter comments.
Yeah, I definitely agree about the McCree thing though, real quick, that like it really feels like you sort of appreciate the player more now. Right, so let's head over to Twitter anyway, and we asked you guys, hey, let us know what you think of the D.Va McCree changes here, and it could be in a video. Basically, you guys have just sent a bunch of the responses in. We have picked a few, a few compared to how many we got, so sorry if your question, or more like answer, isn't in here. But yeah, we're gonna list a few now, starting with the Niche Buster, or @the_Niche. And they're saying, loving the D.Va change so far, finally she's a decent tank instead of an enemy ult charger. And it's a very interesting one. I mean, that's what Roadhog has always been sort of seen as to some degree, whilst he's still very tanky. But D.Va just didn't have the same damage, and therefore, yeah, she was a little bit of an ult charger, at least in my opinion. I don't know what you think, Ryan.
Yeah, and it was easy to outmaneuver the defense matrix because you just waited it out like a Genji reflect. So the only mitigation that you had, people could just ignore and wait for it and then start chomping down at you again. Roadhog is a lot better because he has the damage and the ability to just take people clean out instantly if he gets the hook and the left click and the melee and stuff like that. And D.Va didn't have that, so it was easy for the enemy to just out-damage you, and you just couldn't do anything to them, especially if there was a bit of distance between you.
Yeah, agreed. And the headshot, sort of hitbox or whatever you want to call it, on D.Va too, it was kind of easy to headshot D.Va. I mean, it still is, but at least now you have a little bit more sort of defensive ability. Anyway, we're gonna move on to Nighthawk, or @mhauser25, who says, with McCree, I like the change as he was basically irrelevant, but he's really pushing Soldier 76 out of the metagame right now. And yeah, this is kind of true, honestly. Soldier 76 was kind of the only hero that you could use effectively, like in terms of hit scan on long range. McCree was for a while, but not really like recently. So it's going to be interesting to see the whole, see McCree's trying to like take out Pharahs again. I mean, sure, that happened in the past, but now he's even more viable for that, especially if you just land one headshot that's even closer to just getting them killed in 2 shots, which is very interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing some cool McCree plays with that. We'll see if he totally pushes Soldier 76 out of the meta, though. I don't really think so, but overall, it's a good point.
Yeah, Soldier was always a really sort of strong pick in any aspect of just starting out or high-end game. We covered a sort of Discord tournament a couple of months ago, and there was a lot of Soldier in there because he's a hero that you can get to grips with fairly quick if you have prior experience, and was just good at all ranges. But McCree now has just that little bit more damage to take out problematic enemy heroes really quickly, and that flashbang on a Genji or a Tracer is just going to flush him out. He's a much more aggressive soldier, doesn't really have those defensive capabilities like the heal and stuff like that, but played right, as we said, people like Valataja and Taimu and whoever will pick them up and do absolute wonders with them. So it's going to be exciting to see, but I feel it's probably a little bit too strong and it's going to be an issue.
Yeah, we're moving on to the next one. It's Gunny at Gunny, who says McCree needed a little buff, but this is a little bit too much. A little bit more fall-off damage at long range wouldn't be that bad. And I kind of agree here, because yeah, right now McCree might be a little bit too strong. But yeah, if you just, you know, pull back that sort of damage fall-off so it starts a little bit earlier, I feel like he would be a little bit more balanced, possibly. I'm not sure how much of an effect it actually would have, but I guess the point is that he can't really snipe people, so to say, if you would do that. But yeah, those are my thoughts on it, at least.
Yeah, I honestly agree. There's not really much I can say to that. It's just that it's so much better than it was, but it's a little bit too much. And I think it genuinely surprised people that these changes hit the live servers.
And finally, we have Philip Game at Philip08 Game, who just asks, any idea on console release date? And I thought we'd just bring this up because I kind of have a feeling that, or else a lot of the comments will be this. We got asked this a lot during our recent live streams. And yeah, point is that we don't really know. I don't think Blizzard really know themselves right now. Maybe they have gotten word from like Sony and Microsoft like about the sort of certification process, but basically they submit the patch to them, they have a look through it or whatever, and they give them the sort of green light, and then Blizzard are able to sort of release it. And it's not like on PC where they have their own platform. Blizzard have Battle.net, and they can just push patches as they wish, you know. There hasn't been any official word, I believe, yet on how or when exactly the console release for all this stuff will be, but I don't think it'll be too long, you know? Maybe it'll be today even, maybe it'll be next week sometime, but we'll keep you updated. Check Twitter.
Yeah, the decision's out of Blizzard's hands, which sucks, and you'd kind of assume that they would have worked their way around this, but no doubt they tried to get this done ahead of time if they could. But usually patches take probably weeks for consoles, and you got to bear in mind that Blizzard aren't a console company by nature, but they just wanted to have their game on different ports, I suppose. So I definitely would be annoyed with you if I was a console player and these patches didn't come through, but there's only so much that they as a developer can do. Like, the ball's in Xbox's and PlayStation's court at the moment. But I think that's pretty much it. Have you got anything else that you want to summarise, Miska? Anything you want to go over with the changes and stuff?
No, I believe that's everything. And yeah, I hope it's been interesting to listen to. Put your own thoughts about all of this down in the comments below, because we're interested in reading. It's always nice to try and summarize the sort of community reaction, which is what we try to do in a video like this one. And yeah, we hope you enjoyed watching.
Cool, thanks for watching. Do like this video if you want more videos like this where we literally just chat about the heroes for a bit. But again, thanks for watching, take care, we'll see you next time.